Oikein hyvää torstai-iltaa teille kaikille. Oletteko valmiina? Are you ready? Tämän illan ja Kitaraklinikan teille tarjoaa Karjaan Elävän Musiikin yhdistys Kelmu. Reilummat aplodit. Länsi-Uudenmaan kulttuuriyhdistys. Vielä suurimmat aplodit. Ja kaikkein suurimmat aplodit annetaan Bio Pallakselle, sillä tämä tilaisuus aloittaa Pallaksen Oscar elokuvien festivaaliviikon. Ja tämä tilaisuus on Kitaraklinikka. Ja tänään meillä on paikalla, oletteko se mulle kaikki kitaristeja? Tai kuka soittaa? Johnny soittaa ainakin, Johnny kitaaria, hyvä. Ja kaikilla on kitara-aiheisia kysymyksiä valmiina. Mutta pidemmittä puhetta. It gives us a great pleasure to introduce a world-class guitar player from a famous band called the W.A.S.P. W.A.S.P. Here we have our dear friend Douglas Blair. Give it a hand. It's showtime. Ja muistakaa, jos teillä on kysymyksiä tilaisuuden jälkeen, voitte esittää niitä, ja jos tarvitsette tulkkausta tai tarvitsette johonkin vaiheeseen käännösapua, autamme mielellämme. Mutta nyt, hyvät ystävät, reilut aplodit, Douglas Blair!
Thank you. I found my new guitar. Who's the owner of this guitar? I saw her. There she is, with the red ends, and I'm still in the giant cathedral. We got to change the reverb. Hear that? I'm in like the Notre Dame Cathedral. Hello. Okay. Thank you for coming, everybody. It's really cool that some people have brought their own guitars, because as you can see, I brought a few of mine, which I love to show you, and I'm going to show you and play a bunch of cool stuff for you. And maybe I'll even plug this baby in. We'll see. But I'm going to find somewhere safer for it. Let's see, how about we put it right here next to my red one. That's a good place for it, next to my red one there. Alright, so, how many of you have been here to see a movie before? Awesome, that's great. I just found out 1 second before I walked in the door what movie is playing after I'm done tonight. And I have to stop and mention it for a minute because I've seen it 3 times, and it may be the best music movie ever made, hands down. So if you haven't seen Whiplash, you have to see it. It's for every musician, especially somebody like me who's been doing it since I can remember, since I was about that big. It says it all. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's a guy at a jazz conservatory, and he wants to be one of the greats. And all of us as musicians want to do that. So to watch the movie, you're just, after you walk out, you're like, ugh. All right. And it won a bunch of awards and everything. So it is completely required, if you're aspiring to play music ever, to check this movie out. And I can't believe it's playing here on the screen. For free?
Yeah, of course.
I think we have to stay and watch it.
Yeah, of course.
Oh man, it's not
That's
that
why
long.
we have arranged it.
Oh, you did?
That's for everybody!
You didn't tell me that. That's really cool. You didn't tell me that you actually arranged it.
Yeah, we are cool, but you know that.
Alright, I need to just pull one little frequency out and switch this. So it's actually good enough sounding in here that I can talk without a microphone.
Alright, so I'm going to start with one of my favorite stage guitars here. I'm from really far away in Boston, but Boston is really similar to Finland as far as having like lots of snow and really good winters and everything. So we have spent our winters either skiing or playing guitar, which is really cool because who would want to live somewhere where it's beautiful all the time and you never want to stay inside and play guitar? So how many of you guys play any instrument in here? That's a great show of hands. And I'm really, this is amazing to have a few of your instruments here. Who is the owner of the black one? All right. I've never seen it, so it must be an old, is it a Finnish? Who's the owner of this Finnish guitar? or of the old guitar? Cool. What's the name of the brand?
It's made in Finland, 59, I suppose, and it's a Vandola.
That's amazing. Wow. That is really cool. The red guitar here that I'm going to play for you, one of the new designs that I'm working on is a guitar that size, a Les Paul, right? And you push a button and it'll become that size of yours. Just so that someday will happen, but for now it's just a dream. And the one next to it is wicked cool. Is that a hand-built guitar?
Yes, it's mine.
Whoa, we have a builder in the house. All right. And what is it called?
I don't know.
You don't have any, you didn't name a model for it? That's really cool. I'm going to have to check that out closer. I see a whammy bar. No whammy bar. Okay. All right. Well, next to that is my Washburn, which I'm going to get to later. But right now I'm going to pick up the first one. This is an old Les Paul made in the 1970s, and it was a Japanese copy. But it's made like a tank. It's made out of mahogany, and it's really thick, and you can totally defend yourself with it. It breaks skulls. The thing is a tank, it's like a rock. And it sounds great, so let me grab it. I think I'll play it a little bit, yes. If the strap doesn't fall off and break the guitar. I like this. This is a lively crowd. You said they were going to be talkative. All right, so there's a microphone down here. And if anybody would like to join in and ask questions or join in with the conversation, I love it. So there's a wireless microphone, and you can join in whenever you like. I'm going to play through. I'll play it a little bit, and this is a thing. Here's the guitar. First, I'm going to turn it on, get some sound. That doesn't seem loud enough, does it? Is that loud enough? I think it's better. before, just ask for that microphone, because I'd love to talk about any of this stuff with any of you guys. I got a cool strap that somebody made for me, and it has tubes on it from a tube amplifier. And I forgot to even take these. This is what happens when a cat is chasing you. He's like, I'll make that thing go around, don't worry about it. And he put it all together, so it's kind of cool where you find the knowledge to make stuff happen. But what this is really made for is to give the guys in the band a haircut when they're ready.
Onko kellään kysymyksiä tässä vaiheessa? Jos ei ole, okei, pieni, mä tuon mikin silloin, pieni hetki. Mutta hei, muistakaa yksi asia vielä, että maanantaisin kokoontuu Unkanilla Kelmun bändikerho. Jos olette kiinnostuneet bändin toiminnasta, niin siellä on kaikki, mitä liittyy siihen asiaan. We have one question, Douglas.
Good. Fire away.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask.
Get out the microphone. Do you hear me, Douglas?
Yeah.
I'm Seppo. Hi.
Hey, Seppo.
I wonder, every player have their idols.
Yeah.
So tell us about your idols and what is remarkable in their styles.
Oh, okay. Well, I gotta start with Jimmy Page. Yeah, Jimmy Page. Jimmy Page used the studio as an instrument, which, of course, nowadays everybody can do easily with digital stuff, but when he was doing it, no one else had any clue what the hell he was doing. Nobody could unbelievably figure out how he could make Kashmir sound like Kashmir, or how Stairway to Heaven could sound like Stairway to Heaven. All the other guys in the bands back then wanted Jimmy Page to be their producer, and to tell them how he made those machines do that. The only other guy that would be in that category, of course, would be Les Paul, who invented the guitar. Of course, none of us would be here without Les Paul, for sure. But Les Paul also invented the multi-track recording concept and ability and technique. So before Les Paul figured out how to record over another sound, nobody was doing anything except live recording. So you have the Beatles, you have Jimi Hendrix, you have Jimmy Page and Zeppelin, and all the bands that really became the pioneers in the studio after Les Paul got it started. None of that would have been here. It's amazing to see where it's how it's evolved into Pink Floyd, into all these great bands that have used the studio to make unbelievable creations. And again, we go back to talking about analog versus digital. When these guys were recording, nobody knew how to do it. There were no rules, there were no guidelines, there was nothing you could Google, there was no directions, there was no handbook, there was no manual. They got the machine from the guy who built the machine, and the guy said, I don't know if it's gonna work, try it out, maybe it'll record more than 3 things at once. And then you have the guys like, for example, the Beatles engineer, I think, Eddie Kramer, no, I don't know, Martin, don't recall his name exactly, George Martin, that's it. All right, George Martin looking at these machines and then looking out at the studio at these 4 guys in the Beatles going, what are we going to do with, what are we going to do to make this unbelievably great? And they did. They made Abbey Road, and they made, these records that just blew your mind. So they were the real pioneers, and a lot of stuff can be done digitally, which is cool, but it's a lot harder to do something different, because everyone else has the same information, and they're all using the same directions, and they're all kind of doing the same thing. So it's very difficult to do something as completely out in the middle of nowhere as those guys could. Anyway, and then the Jimmy Page, the other side of Jimmy Page is the acoustic side, and that really inspired me to really play a lot of acoustic. And I'm gonna play some nylon string now, which is what I learned on. So you guitar players that are just starting out, I'm gonna suggest that you really study either steel or nylon string acoustic guitar, and then also play electric guitar, because it really makes your fingers stronger. It develops your ability to see chords and see scales, see things on the neck differently than you would if you're just playing regular electric guitar. So who in here plays acoustic guitar? All right. And of you guys that play acoustic guitar, do you try to balance it with your electric playing? Yeah, all right. Because I mean, it's wonderful. It's like playing, I guess it's like being a singer and playing an instrument. You love doing both. You want to do both at the same time, kind of, so you kind of go back and forth. So for that exact reason, these two guitars are behind me. I used to have a guitar mounted on a stand, which a lot of guys do. You have your acoustic up here, and it's mounted on a stand, and you can walk up behind it and play. But then our roadies knocked it over like 10 times and broke the neck off. So I'm like, that's enough of that. I'm not going to fix that over again. So like Slash and a couple other guys that had the same idea kind of at the same time, yeah, he's one of my heroes too, for sure. Slash said, let's just make a guitar with both of them stuck together. Why not? It's, you know, Jimmy Page had his cool double neck with the 12 string, but it didn't go all the way and have an acoustic neck on the top, and that's what these are. So I'm going to play a few selections for you on these guitars so you can check them out. And you might notice something different about where the sound is coming from, because we're experimenting with some new shit. Oh yeah. Oh, a question in the middle, all right.
Yeah, hi. Just wanted to ask that when you were a kid,
Yeah.
at what moment did you kind of decide, like, I'm going to be a guitar player?
Ooh, that's a good one. That was tough because I wanted to be a motocross racer. We grew up ski racing, so we'd be up in the mountains racing every weekend, which in the long run was kind of cool because it was just like going on the road with the band. You went away and raced in different mountains. But I think it was singing like Jimmy Page and the guy in Rush. When I finally got to see Rush play live, I was like, that's it. That's just it. So Alex Lifeson is a big, big influence as well. But he's sort of similar to me. He grew up on Jimmy Page and on Jimi Hendrix. So, you know, influence can really stack up. You can influence somebody that's a week older than you or a week younger than you. But anyway, these guitars I built myself. They're just a bigger Strat with two necks. They've got a hollow part underneath the acoustic neck. So I'm going to play something on the red one for y'all. Here's the red one.
If it works. Hopefully it'll work. It sounds like it works.
I have to point out, I've never ever performed on a stage this steep before. This is like climbing a mountain.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I forgot to do that. Here we go.
tension, I think, mediums or something. So I have to experiment with different strings to see how it responds. But again, it's hollow under here. Just by about an inch, but that gives it enough to kind of soak up a little bit of the sound. If that was totally solid, like the rest of the guitar, it wouldn't sound as good. It wouldn't be as responsive, and especially on the steel string, which I'm going to grab now. The one I'm going to grab now is the first one I ever made in about 1989, and this is the guitar that I walked into the audition for W.A.S.P. and played the record, The Crimson Idol, which is half acoustic. And because of that guitar, I think I'm kind of standing here. Sometimes you just need to kick it. And I'm going to play a tune for you now that I'm going to sing. But after I play it, I'm going to show you a really cool thing that I stuck on this guitar. I don't know if you guys have seen this thing yet, but it's totally insane. But right now, what I got to play is in regular tuning. But after that, we're going to show you the trick that it does. It's really cool. All right, let me figure this out here. Need a sound man. All right, here we go. The gates are open, but you won't leave. Break the silence you choose to keep. Without knowing, without fear of where you're going. Now you are here. And when the talk has come to cheap, when life has got so deep, when there's money in your hand, didn't work out like you planned, surrender. You needed something to believe. The gates are open, but you won't leave. Break the silence you choose to keep. Without knowing, without fear of where you're going. Now you are here. And when the talk has come to cheap, when life has got so deep, when there's money in your hand, didn't work out like you planned, surrender. Yourself now. talk is going to cheat. When life got so deep, when the money in your hand didn't work out like you planned, surrender. Surrender to yourself now, baby. Surrender. Surrender yourself now. Surrender to yourself now. All right, that's what that one does. All right, thank you. So you can hear the speakers we got going in the back, and that's something I'm starting to experiment with both the Double X and some other guitars that you can kind of send some stuff down front. You can send some cool shit out to the back. You can kind of, spread things around. So how's it sound? Sound nice to hear that coming from the back? Have the lead come out back there. It's pretty interesting. Any questions? I thought I saw a hand up there. What was that? Or drop down to a D. So it's a really great tuning, and there's a lot of other songs written in it. But I'll play a couple for you now, and give you another gist of what this thing is about. You guys are welcome to try it later on. And it's actually ironic that I sold some a long time ago when I first built several of them, but recently a couple guys here in Finland have bought them. So I have two other double necks. They're called mutant twins living here in Finland. So actually five altogether live here. 5 or 6, 5 live here. And one in America, and that's it. All right, so. this is a fun thing to do. Just discovering other stuff you can do with it without the other guys hanging around behind you. So does anybody have any questions on this thing? Ah, we have them. Go ahead.
What is the hardest song of what you can play and why?
The hardest song I can play and write?
What you can play and why?
Oh, the hardest song that I can play? That's a good question. I can't really... I would have to say it's some, a piece by Yes on the nylon string, like a really difficult piece called Mood for a Day is really difficult to play. And I would play it for you, but I don't have the balls. I'm afraid I'll mess it up, so I won't do that. Maybe next time I'll try to play it. It's like twice as hard as the thing I played before, but I learned that when I was about 13, and it's still difficult to get it perfect, so I'm not ready to perform it. But that's a goal, is to be able to perform it. But yeah, anybody, after later on, you can check these things out. They're really fun. This one's really old. It's a really old one, and it holds up, traveling and flying. All right, so I've got one more chapter for you guys. How's everybody holding up? How are you holding up? All right, there's one more guitar back here I haven't played yet. And you guys might look at it and get an idea of what the hell it might do. So I'll show it to you real quick. It's right here. I think I have to plug in a different chord, though. That's what I got to do. So give me 1 second to plug in a different chord. Of course, you got to plug in a good chord, not the shitty one. All right.
Actually, in these states, Karjaan Elävän Musiikin yhdistys Kelmu would like to give you something, because this is what we do.
Oh, you do?
We are always prepared. There's something we would like to give to you. A proper cable. It's all yours. Take care.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't talked about the Rock Academy Finland, which is over in Turku, which is awesome. And they've got like 1,000 stages and 25 PA systems, but I can't find one chord to plug my guitar in the whole place. Woohoo! That's awesome. That's not true. They hide them. They put them behind lock and key. That's why I can't find them. All right, so let me plug this in. And yeah, now this is a lot of fun. Now this gets really fun. Alright, so most of these instruments are just to try to sound like more than one person, which I guess I have a complex about. Anyway, this one is called the Guitar Cross, and it has bass strings and guitar strings, and I'll demonstrate it pretty quick for you once I plug it in. I know that tune. That's a good tune to play on the guitar. But yeah, I just gotta switch a couple of switches and we'll be in business. That one, and that one, and that one, and that one. And then this one. Alright, so you got bass. And for all you guitar players, I mean, we suck on bass. We can try, but bass players are way better at playing bass than we are. We attempt. So, well, I mean, for playing bass, I mean, our fingers are too short, and we don't have as good rhythm. Bass players have perfect rhythm, and that's why they make really great rhythm guitar players, too. So, this thing I built for my bass player. I didn't even build it for me. I built it for my bass player so that when I was playing a lead, he could follow behind my lead with something really cool. And then I moved away from where I lived in Connecticut and couldn't find a bass player. So I decided to learn how to play it myself, which has really been great because I have 5 guitar strings on it, that's it. Because I can't fit any more on there. So it actually forces you to try to write music with 5 guitar strings and with a bass string on the bottom. So it's really kind of like sitting with an acoustic guitar to write music. And the songs that I'm going to play for you are pretty basic, but they're still very challenging to play on this thing, to play both the bass notes and the guitar notes. And I have a duo that I call a power duo. A tip of the hat to Rush. We have a power duo. My drummer lives in Boston, and you're going to listen to him playing drums. And I'm going to be working with drummers here too, and finding the right guy that I can play with here in Europe. But eventually, my drummer John will make it over from the States, and we'll be able to do some shows. And he's an incredible drummer. And I have to make note that the movie that's going to be on after I'm done, you guys should stick around and see it, because the premise, the concept of the drummer being the leader of the band is something that was very popular for a long time in bands called big bands, swing bands. The drummer was the leader. Does anybody know who Buddy Rich is? All right. So Buddy Rich is like Neil Peart's hero. Guys that play like that, they used to lead the band. Somehow something happened. Really, thank you for coming. I've got cards up here if you want to check out the Dreams in the Witch House rock opera project, which is really cool. And if anybody has any questions and want to check these out, just come see me. But this thing's a beast to handle. I love it. Gets you all wound up. It's like so much harder to play than a regular guitar. So the last song I'm going to play for you features my drummer John, all the way from Boston, Massachusetts, and you'll hear his vocal. And again, thank you. This song is called Hear What I Say. We have a Signal to Noise website, but I forgot to write it up there. Whatever, you can kind of Google it, it'll pop up somewhere. But we got a lot of tunes, and it's very interesting because it's so different than a regular 4-piece or 5-piece band. And it's really great because it gives me a different outlook on playing in a regular band where the other guy plays bass and the other guy plays rhythm guitar and everybody does their thing. This is really fun because it's more like sitting with an acoustic guitar and trying to kind of get all the parts together. But you get to do it electrically, and it's really it's a lot of fun to play it. So I got one more called Hear What I Say. Let me set it up for you.
What do we got here? +1. All right.
Dying all around.
Alright, that wasn't supposed to start a rain. I'm all done. Thank you very, very much. That's called Hear What We Say. And that's on the guitar cross. So come on up, hang out, talk to me, and check out some cards if you want to.
Hyvät naiset ja herrat, Douglas Blair, ladies and gentlemen, Douglas Blair. Ja muistakaa, jos teillä on kysymyksiä tai haluatte jotain kokeilta testailla, niin tervetuloa tänne eteen. Pidetään pieni tauko, saadaan nämä hommat Douglasin kanssa selväksi ja sen jälkeen noin 15 minuutin kuluttua W.A.S.P.
Yeah.
Here you go. No. Take your time.
As I said, you gotta see Whiplash. It's amazing.
Ja tässä huomaatte, että analoginen esitys vaatii digitaalista apua silloin tällöin. Analogical performance needs some kind of digital help every now and then. Tervetuloa keskustelemaan ja muistakaa Kelmun bändikerho maanantaisin Unkarilla, jos olet kiinnostunut soittamisesta.
Jäseneksi saa mielellään liittyä täältä saalikonteita.
Ja Kelmun jäsenliittymiskaavakkeita saa myöskin täältä. Tervetuloa mukaan. Opetamme, koulutamme, neuvomme analogista ja digitaalista tekniikkaa, soittotaitoja, äänentossijärjestelmien pystytystä. Kelmu on hoitanut tämänkin tilaisuuden kokonaisuudessaan, joten ei muuta kuin tervetuloa mukaan Kelmun toimintaan. Karjaan Elävän Musiikin yhdistys. Ja muistakaa tänä iltana, tässähän alkaa Bio Pallaksen Oscar-elokuvien viikko. Ja tänään, kun näkyisi kitarahommista päässä ja selvitään, niin alkaa W.A.S.P. Ja se on myöskin ilmainen teille kaikille.